Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing The Daring Ladies of Lowell by Kate Alcott. The Daring Ladies of Lowell by Kate Alcott follows Alice Barrow in 1832, who leaves her family farm to get a job as a mill girl in Lowell, Massachusetts. Alice enjoys her newfound independence, but quickly discovers that conditions in a factory are dangerous. Alice and her co-workers work together to air their grievances to those in power with the hope that these conditions will change. Everything comes to a halt after one of the mill girls is brutally murdered, and a sensational trial follows. The Daring Ladies of Lowell is a story of friendship and resiliency, showcasing a transitional period in history where workers and women fight for the rights and freedoms they are owed. I was pleasantly surprised with this book, you guys. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I was kind of a little worried I might end up getting a little bored with it, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. The thing you gotta know about this book, it is tackling quite a lot of big, heavy issues, you know, like the rights of women, the rights of workers. There's a lot being tackled, but Kate Alcott manages to weave all of these threads nicely together. I think that it all kind of makes sense and you see where everything is going. So yeah, nothing felt out of place, essentially. So what you have is a really nicely tight narrative, I think. I don't think there was any like fluff going on. I think every scene felt relevant and needed. So yeah, this book, as I mentioned, it's a book that's both about the rights of women, but also about the rights of workers. It's a book about independence, but also a love story in there as well. And there's also a real-life historical murder trial that's taking place in the midst of this book. So yeah, there's a lot, you guys. So, at the start of this book, we meet young Alice Barrow. She's fleeing from her family farm because she just doesn't want that life anymore, because just spending her days as a farm girl, it provides nothing for her emotionally, and she just feels like she's being held back from her true passions, essentially. And so she heads out to Lowell, Massachusetts, where she knows that there's a bunch of cotton mill factories out there, and she becomes a mill girl. And this allows her this new sense of independence because she's earning her own money. That money is going to her directly. You know, this is not money that is going to her family. So this is allowing her this new sense of independence and freedom, and that, you know, she just has to keep working at this mill, save her money day by day, week after week, month after month, year by year, and eventually she'll have enough that she can move to a bigger city and like open up her own business, which is what she really wants to do. And as soon as Alice arrives, she quickly builds up this nice bond and friendship with all of her female co-workers. And Alice quickly discovers that the life of a factory, it's pretty dangerous. If you know history, early factories, they were pretty rough, pretty bad. There are many cases of people getting severely injured, like losing limbs, or, you know, like your hair. There's a part in this book where a girl, her hair gets caught in something and it's just tearing and tearing and tearing. They have to sit and like chop off all of her hair in order to free her. It's pretty rough. So yeah, Alice quickly finds out that the life of a mill is pretty rough and dangerous, and there's a lot of problems, lots of issues, and yeah, it's not very happy, you know, even though she's getting this new sense of freedom and independence. It's like with it comes all these dangers and problems. And through all of this, Alice also falls in love with a man named Samuel Fisk. Samuel is the son of the mill owner. And Samuel, he's wealthy and privileged, but He never looks down on Alice. He looks on her as an equal at times. He listens to her. He listens to her complaints. And he is with the workers of the mill. He agrees that they need better pay, their hours need to be cut, they need better health conditions, the machinery needs to be fixed. So yes, Samuel is like this great ally and partner to not only Alice but just all of the workers in general, that there needs to be some sort of change in the conditions. But yeah, his father is having none of it. His father sees everything as, you know, as monetary gain or monetary loss, and doesn't care about the health of these people. And as I mentioned, there's a real-life historical murder trial that takes place in this book. Fairly early on in this book, I think before you really reach the halfway point, one of the mill girls is found brutally murdered. And I beg you, please, if you have like my edition especially, do not read the inside flap where the synopsis is. Do not read that. It downright tells you which of the mill girls dies, and I was very angry about that because the whole book I knew who it was and I kept anticipating it, and it kind of ruined that shock for me. So yeah, do not read the synopsis for this book if you don't want to know who is the one who was killed. But yeah, you do have this real-life murder trial that takes place, and it's a pretty scandalous, shocking, sensational trial as depicted in this book. And this is where the book, it definitely has this fine balance of the rights of women and the rights of workers, because yeah, this girl was a mill girl worker, and suffering through some things there and how she was treated. But then, yeah, she's also a woman at the end of the day. And then, yeah, how she is depicted through this trial. Through this trial, she's just seen as a scheming whore, essentially, that she brought about her own downfall. And, yeah, the man who they're saying is the one who possibly killed her, he's not owning up to it. He's just trying to escape, and he's trying to use his position of power to get out of it and put the blame all on her, that he had nothing to do with it. So yeah, there's definitely this great balance of the rights of women, the rights of workers going on with this whole trial. And it just becomes this game, and it becomes this just rather silly and absurd, and it's very sensational. And what this book does, it just really gives you this great sense of the time period, I feel like. Because as I mentioned, it takes place in 1832. The mills have kind of just been started. They've not been up for too terribly long. It gives you a great sense of this life and how the workers were treated, all of these terrible conditions. Yeah, there's these really graphic moments where some of the girls are coughing, and they're coughing up literal cotton balls. I didn't really know that was kind of a thing, but yeah, because there's no air ventilating, you know, no circulation, that cotton is kind of eventually kind of going down their throats and building up, and over time they have to cough it out. It makes me think of like a hairball from a cat. You know, that's kind of the equivalent of it. So there's some pretty rough moments where people are getting injured, or yeah, they're coughing up these bloody cotton balls. Oh, and yeah, reading this, it really makes you see where we have gone in the last couple hundred years since then, you know. Yeah, workers' rights have improved, working conditions have improved. I mean, even the rights of women have vastly improved. Yeah, are there still issues? Yes, but considering how it was back in 1832, we are much more in a better place as women compared to back then. But yeah, you get to see where women are at this time period, and that these women, these are some of the earliest women in history who were trying to provoke change, and you don't really hear too much about them. So yeah, I definitely recommend this book if you love all things historical fiction, if you love this kind of time period in history, which is a very transitional time period in some ways. Just some of the big things that are going on. I have known about Lowell, Massachusetts in passing. I've heard about it, but I've never gone into much depth or detail with it. And yeah, I've certainly never heard about this real life murder investigation that happened. So yeah, I was very compelled by that and curious where it was going. And I think this book had a really nice pace to it. It felt very consistent. It felt like things were always happening and going on. Everything felt needed and useful. And even the love story in this book, the love story is not kind of this big primary thing. In some ways it's secondary, but yeah, even the romance is important and vital, and I really liked it and I enjoyed it. And I really just give all the praise to Kate Alcott for this book, because I think she wrote a really nicely powerful message at the end of the day, especially about women and about workers. It's definitely a nice book about the power of resiliency and the power of female friendship especially. So yeah, I loved all of that. So you guys, that is it for this video. Have you guys read The Daring Ladies of Lowell? If you did you enjoy it? Do you plan on reading this in the future if you haven't? So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.